Repeat after me. Barack Obama was born in the United States of America. One more time. Repeat after me. Barack Obama was born in the United States of America. And even if he was not, there is nothing you can do. If you say anything, you are a racist. This has been a friendly reminder from your official government brainwashing service.
Well, Mike, you're probably a racist and a tinfoil hat wearer for believing that the government would try to brainwash people like that.
Well, I'm a homophobe, but I want to see the entire Earth destroyed by the Canadian tar sands too. By the way,
and you probably walk down the beaches stepping on little turtle eggs and stuff, don't you?
I videotape it too, and I put
yes.
it up on YouTube.
I like the way they pop when you step on them.
Oh,
they
yeah.
sound like those little packing things, you know.
Hey, I haven't been eagle hunting in quite a while. We'll have to get down there to Florida.
Well, when you get that eagle, fry him up. He tastes just like manatee.
Mike, the good thing about eagle hunting is once they finish wrecking the United States of America, it'll no longer be illegal to kill an eagle.
That's true.
Well,
maybe the national bird will probably be the buzzard then.
I guess so.
The vulture. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. You guys go ahead. Y'all go on. Mike, you've got some stuff to bring to the table. You want to talk about a cult growing up within the Christian community.
I don't know. I've never been so proud. Carl, I listened to your full hour, a 2-hour interview with
George
Norrie on Coast to Coast, by the way.
Thank you.
And I've never been more proud to know you. I mean, that was just, I know you got. There's too much humility there. We're going to have to Brandon. We're going to have to get together and knock some of that humility off your dad there. He's too humble to admit the fact that he's an awesome guy and does an awesome job representing the kingdom of God as a representative of the. I mean, I don't know if there's any way that we could get people a copy of that, or people have to go to Coast, their website.
Yeah, go to Coast AM website, and you might have to be a subscriber.
Yeah, you actually have to be a member of their Coast to Coast Insiders Club. They have a pay for service with their podcast.
But you can listen to that whole 2-hour show.
You guys would be very proud of your pastor and your friend down there in the Florida area when you listen to that. I honestly, that's probably the best interview you have ever done. And also, people do know, many people do know that you are one of the founders of ppsimmons. So, I've sort of taken over the public interaction there, and so I do have to field many of the accolades that you get, and I don't send you most of those.
No, please don't, don't. It might go to my head. Yeah.
Well, in fact, there may not be a door big enough to fit that head.
Well, thank you.
All of them. But I, at the same time, I do have to field many of the complaints, by the way.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't send you. The vast majority of those I don't send you.
Yeah, well, I don't get hate mail, do I? Come on now. Not in the
don't
world I live in.
You don't get as much hate mail as I get.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. But anyway, talk to me about this little cult growing up within the Christian movement there.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get to here is people send me messages, and you probably get this a lot, but people send me messages saying, well, how come you guys are charging money for this book?
Oh,
Why don't you guys give this book away for free?
Yeah, I get those.
And it's one of those moments that you wonder what is wrong with people, honestly. But so when Magic Man came out and became a bestseller, we were getting the same phenomenon was going on. People were asking us, well, how come you guys aren't giving it away for free? You're trying to make money and become millionaires by selling books, and you are godly people. You should be giving away everything for free. Everything should be free, and you should give it all away for free. So here's what I did. And you know that I did this. Well, I decided to do a little experiment. I fell on the sword, just by way of experiment. What I did was I have written and published 6 books, by the way.
Right, I know.
And 3 of them are out of print. You cannot get them. I can't even get them. But what happened was the publisher was bought out by a big fish, and so all the books, most of the books were discontinued. So 3 of my books I can't even get. I don't even think I have that same computer anymore that I wrote them on. That's how long ago I wrote them. But 3 of them are still in print. You can still get them. And what I did was I took 2 of those books, and I made this huge announcement. Remember, we had this big press conference we had this big press release on Freedom Friday.
I do.
We did this last year. We said, it was a huge announcement. Mike Shoesmith and ppsimmons, we're publishing 2 of our books, and we made them ppsimmons resource books, Fast Track to Freedom and The Atheists Are Wrong. We published them for free.
That's right.
On our blog.
I remember.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the third one, I don't own the rights to it. It's my first book. It was picked up by the biggest book publisher in the world. And by the way, they sent me an email recently. They want to submit it to the Nobel Prize Committee for a consideration for the Nobel Prize in Literature, by the way.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
it's true.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, but go ahead with your illustration.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about that
amazing.
later.
Yeah.
But the other two we publish for free, and guess what?
What?
Virtually, comparatively speaking, nobody is reading the two books that are free.
Yeah, because if it's
Nobody's
free, people think it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
Well, now they can still be purchased, but because I have publishing deals with publishers, but the deal was that they let me publish it for free as well on the blog.
Right.
And people can read. They're called Fast Track to Freedom and The Atheists Are Wrong. You read it. It's widely known that these books are available for free, and these people, nobody's reading them.
Right.
And yet, Carl Gallups is published by a major book publisher. You do not have the option of pulling your book off the shelves and publishing it for free. Right. A major book publisher has published your book, and you are getting interviewed everywhere.
Right.
Everybody wants a piece of Carl Gallups. And listen, folks, when I heard you on Coast to Coast AM, if I was an atheist before, it would be very difficult for me to hang on to that worldview after listening to you. That was powerful stuff.
Thank you.
Powerful stuff. But let me ask you this. Would you have had that opportunity had you published your book to the ppsimmons blog?
Oh,
Absolutely not.
Oh, no. Nobody would be paying attention to me then, or my message.
And Mike, let me say this too to those people that are mad about not getting it for free. And you probably know this, but let me tell you what happens with some of those books at Carl Gallups Ministries is that there's a person that actually every several months that sends them a donation to buy books to give away to people who cannot afford them.
Plus, I spend thousands of dollars a year giving away my own books
out of his own pocket.
I have to purchase the books and then I give them away.
Yeah. So
these people that work in these publishing companies, they have to eat. They have to pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
They have to buy their children Christmas presents.
Right.
These people, this is their job. This is their livelihood. And they depend on people going to the bookstore, going to Amazon, going to WNDbooks.com, and buying books.
Well, what's wrong?
Here's my theory.
Okay, go ahead. I was going to ask you, what's your theory? What's wrong with Christians, especially, that feel like they ought to get something for nothing? What's going on?
Well, I think that this is a weed that has been allowed to grow up in Christendom. It's a weed. It's a dark stain that has been allowed to everybody's just sort of walking around it and sort of ignoring it because nobody wants to deal with this dark stain that's in the carpet. In the kingdom here. I mean, I'm not saying these people aren't saved. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that this ideology. It's you know what a cult of personality is. It's why we have Obama's president. Right. It's why the Mormons exist. It's why the Seventh-day Adventists exist. These are all cults of personalities built up around people. Ellen G. White. The Scientology exists because of L. Ron Hubbard. These are all cults of personality. But I think that what we have within Christianity is a cult of ideology. Communism and socialism, these are just synonymous terms, socialism has been allowed as if you can picture a weed growing up in a fine garden, and this weed, nobody has had the gall to step into the garden and yank this weed up.
Yeah.
And today I am launching a war against this weed. I'm finished with this. I mean, these people need to be spoken to, and spoken to harshly. This has to be shut down, honestly, because you and I have tried to be nice about this. We've tried to be nice.
Well,
but you know what? It's over. It ends today. It has to end.
Well, here's the challenge. Here's the challenge I've given to people, and then I want Brandon to say something, then we got to take a break. I've told people on the internet who've said this, I've said, look, if you can prove to me that you have received a free Bible that is free to everybody, didn't cost anybody anything, I will give you all the free books you want. And no one has ever responded. You know why?
Well, I brought my cameraman into a bookstore. We recorded me taking a Bible off the shelf and trying to walk out with it, and the person behind the counter says, "Hey, what are you doing?"
That's right.
We have that on tape on ppsimmons on YouTube.
I know, but people say, "Oh, somebody gave it for free." Yes, but they had to pay for it, and the publishers had to. Somebody, well, a King James Bible's for free. No, it's not. It's got to be printed. Somebody has to pay for the printing. It's not free. It's not free, Brandon.
Well, I was just going to say, Mike, it just reminded me a while back, the guy, I can't remember his name, he got up and championed 30 years of forced abortions to start scaling back the Earth's population. And you lay down a challenge to him, well, he should just kill himself. Right, to start that trend. Well, it's kind of the same thing here. Why wouldn't these people that want something for free, if they think that that is the ticket that makes you a Christian, they should all immediately purchase a book and give it away?
Right, exactly. Hypocrite. And this weed is a hypocritical weed, and it's time that we pull this weed up by the roots and we say, look, a workman is worth his wages. This kind of thing costs money, and the Lord is using it. I'm telling you, the Lord is using it in a mighty, powerful way, and I am proud to be a part of what Carl Gallups is doing, selling these books. And you know what? I bought 2 copies of Magic Man. I'll probably buy at least 4 or 5 copies of the Rabbi book. I've already got one. And you know what? I just think that, I don't know, if I sound frustrated, it's because I wake up to 300 emails a day, and at least 4 or 5 of them are yelling at me about, why aren't you giving everything away for free? Right. Well, you know what? Because I like to eat.
That's right.
I don't live in a tent on the roadside begging for food.
I hear you, Mike. I hear you. Well, that's amazing. And you know, you made such a salient point about, for example, if I had just published that and put it on a blog, nobody would really care. But because it is by a major publisher, and because it is finely produced, and because somebody has to pay for it, you know, it's going to cost you between $15 and $20 to get a copy. And when you pay that money, you're going to read it. Churches are showing the movie. Sunday school classes in churches. I had a pastor of a huge megachurch in this area stood up in his pulpit Sunday, held my book up, and told the congregation, you need to get this book. Told his whole congregation, because he had read it and it so blew him away. Now, if it was published for free on a blog, he would have never read it, and if he did, he would have never said, go read that free book on a blog. It's really good. It would have never happened. George Norrie has 5 million people a night listening to him. I've been on his show twice in a month and a half. I have spoken to 10 million people the gospel truth because of this book. So he said in the interview, he said, now you just brought this to my mind here, he said that WorldNet Daily is one of his favorite news sites. Yes.
So you would not have reached anybody if it wasn't for WorldNet Daily and their credibility.
And W&D
and the Lord
books.
Is using it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, more from Mike Shoesmith and Brandon Big B. You're listening to Carl Gallups on this Freedom Friday. And my studio audience, we welcome you, as well as our visitors from Canada, and then all of our visitors out in Radio Land. We're so glad you're with us today. Hang on, we'll be right back. God bless you.